Welcome to the Chronic Warriors podcast with Cassandra A. Campbell.
A platform to share,
Hear,
and cheer chronic illness warriors.
Just know that when you made your commitment to your partner, you took their whole selves.
To be able to have a bad day, to be able to say, do you know what, I can't cope no more.
I am a chronic warrior because every day I wake up and I'm so glad to still be here.
Hi Warriors and Co. As you know, this month's theme is all about men who live with chronic conditions, and my special guest today is Simon. Thanks for joining me, Simon. How are you doing today?
I'm all good, thank you. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Really looking forward to our discussion today. So, if you want to start off by telling us a bit about yourself, please.
Okay, I'm Simon. Currently live in Devon, sunny Devon, near the coast. I was diagnosed with EDS back in the late 80s. Back then it was classical, and back then it was EDS 3. So I've got two types back then. I've been struggling with it all my life. I think it got worse when I was younger. I couldn't walk without my knees caps popping out of joint. I couldn't hold a pen, and it just got worse and worse. You know, I was eventually diagnosed in the late 80s, and sort of from there lived with it.
Okay. So how would you say that it's impacted your life, particularly as a man?
Well, as a man, I think a lot of people forget about the whole men with conditions. With EDS, especially me and some other men, because it's an invisible illness, you just look like a guy.
Yeah.
And it's the little things, like, I know we live in the 21st century, but it's like doing a garden, shopping, DIY. It's things like that we want to do, but we can't do. Or I'll say that we can do, it'll just be a week of doing nothing for the rest. So it's quite a tough condition to be a man, actually.
I can imagine, because, you know, there's these societal expectations of how a man should be and what he should do, you know. So
well, yeah, it's funny, because my wife says to me, you know, we're living in the 21st century, that doesn't happen anymore. And the sad fact of reality, it does. You know, I was in Aldi 2 weeks ago, and there's a little old lady there with a massive bag of, was it cat litter, you know, the cat stuff. Mm-hmm. She asked me to lift it up onto the counter, and I had to say no. No, and it's hard, because everyone just be looking at you, why are you not helping that little granny out?
Yeah.
It's tough, because, you know, you are a man and you are supposed to be doing these things, yet you can't.
How do you deal with that on an emotional, psychological level?
Well, to quite honestly, I've got a wife that's a secondary school teacher, so she's quite bossy, to say the least. So, no, she's my rock, to be quite honest with you, because it does upset me, but she keeps saying, you know, that we are in the 21st century now. So I need to keep saying to myself, you know, I think invisible illnesses in general are getting more of a media presence, I suppose, so people understand it a bit more. And for example, now I do have a blue badge and I do park in a blue bay, but sometimes I feel like I have to hobble more.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling as well, because people are looking at you like, why are you in a disabled bay? You look perfectly healthy. So I know. I'm on crutches. I get these looks all the time, and I've had to really develop a thick skin.
Yeah, no, I do. It does bother me, but I do park in normal bay sometimes, because I just don't want the hassle. But sometimes I think it's just probably just me thinking that. To be honest with you, I don't think general people really care. But I think it's just me thinking, if I park there, people are going to look at me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but I'm quite stubborn.
Right. Okay.
I was diagnosed with it when I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
and so having EDS, I've known about it all my life. It's my normal. I don't know anything different. And it's only until really I did meet my wife, and she did point out stuff that I was doing. She was like, you do know that's not normal. Like getting out the car, getting out the bath, walking. To me, that was my normal.
Okay.
So I was a bit stubborn. I just got on with life. And it's only until I met her, she's saying, right, you need to get more help.
Yeah, and I get that, and I think, you know, I'm very similar. It took me years before I said, right, I need help with this, I need help with that, and I haven't been asking for help, so I've had to really work on that stuff. But on the flip side, I think living with the conditions that we do, we have to have an element of stubbornness in us, otherwise we just give up.
Oh no, yeah, and do you know what? My physio back when I was back in the 80s and 90s, Margaret, she was literally, and my mum used to ship me around to all the hospitals and physio appointments every night. It was ridiculous. And all their word, and I said it to Jeannie Bond when I spoke to her, I said the word that they keep saying to me was, there's no such word as can't. And I love that saying, because there is no such word as can't. If you want to do it, you can do it. But just you've got to find your way of doing it.
That's right. Even if you've got to find an alternative way, that's right. I totally believe and agree with that.
And again, because I think 'cause I was diagnosed at a younger age, that's so important to be diagnosed at such a young age, so you can learn to find a management plan. Because once you find a management plan, it's like literally like a light goes off and go, oh, there you go. Like for me, it's swimming. Like if it wasn't for my swimming and being in the ocean, it would be horrible. For example, that first lockdown one we had, when we can go to the beach or we can go swimming, my condition, you could see it. I was like, by the end of the lockdown, I was like a mess on the floor because I wasn't on top of my condition. It's just funny how you just stop doing what you're doing for like a week and all of a sudden it just goes back to being very disabled.
Yeah, it can have that kind of impact, most definitely.
I think being positive about it is a good thing as well. Positive attitude.
I think some people struggle with that though.
No, I completely agree with them. And the thing is, Cassandra, I do these Zoom meetings, and some of the stories I hear back from some of what the doctors say, it's absolutely shocking. I've had stories of rheumatologists not even believing that EDS was a thing.
Yes.
And I'm just like, excuse me? What? They don't believe it's all in your head, and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
The only people who know about EDS are people with EDS.
Yeah. There are a few out there. I mean, I go
to there are.
University,
but I think
they teach their students, and the students do a lot of research about EDS. I mean, I've had one student, and he'd never heard of it before I'd come along because he'd not got to that part in his training yet.
Yeah.
When he started treating me, he went away and did a load of research.
That's fantastic.
But the tutors and everything had already heard, they're fully qualified. They know and understand EDS. So that made a massive difference for me.
That's amazing.
Again, there are not a lot out there, not enough medical practitioners who do know about EDS and understand EDS.
I have to say, I have no qualms with the NHS. I lived overseas for like 20 years of my life. Mm-hmm. And where I lived was, you had to pay for your, doctors and pay for everything. Yeah. So like, I think over here we've got it quite lucky compared to everywhere else. I found a fantastic physio in Exeter now, and she's brilliant. She knows all about EDS. And I think we're going back to that thing again, where you need to find someone and a management plan who understands it.
Yes, exactly. And that makes so much of a difference.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's for the blokes as well. Again, sometimes I think they need to swallow their pride a little bit and sort of admit they've got a condition and admit they're disabled. For years, I didn't admit I was disabled. I was like, I'm not disabled. Because you automatically think people in wheelchairs and, and mobility scooters, they're disabled. But there's a charity where I did some of my flying, Airability. They basically said, whatever affects your day-to-day living is a disability.
That's right.
And I think that's great, isn't it? Because, it does affect our day-to-day living.
Yeah. And it took a counsellor for me to realise that, because like yourself, for years, I'm not disabled, Yeah, I know. Get special assistance at the airport, things like that. I wouldn't do. I wouldn't ask for help. And it was actually a counsellor who said, "But doesn't this affect the things that you do daily?"
Yeah, it does. I know.
You are not able to do because of your condition. And I was like, and this was even before I got diagnosed. And I was like, oh well. Yeah, there is. Because again, like you, I thought of disability was somebody in a wheelchair, somebody without a limb. That's
how. You told me the same is I'm not disabled enough.
Yeah, and that's right, and that's what society tells us. And it's because of that. That's what society tells us. To be disabled, you've got to be in a wheelchair. But
but that's how we've grown up, isn't it? I think it's changing now. I think maybe I think it's changing now. But when we were growing up, you have to look at disabled. Yeah. When I lived in London for a while, I would stand up in an underground knowing that I'm in severe pain.
Yeah.
Just because if I sat down, I'd have everyone looking at me thinking, oh, he's not disabled.
Yeah. Oh, he should be letting a woman sit down or an elderly.
I know. But I think you're right. I think once you admit that you're disabled, for example, like when I met my wife, she was like, no, are you claiming any help for being disabled? I was like, no, of course not. I'm not disabled enough. And again, she was like, that's ridiculous. So I applied for PIP. I had such bad stories about people not getting it. Mm-hmm. In fact, they've been fantastic to me. Like they've been really good. And I've got a mobility car, has literally changed my life.
Yeah.
I used to have this manual car. I used to be in so much pain, like changing gears and stuff. And I've got this car. It's literally changed my life.
And that's the thing. Having a car for us is not a luxury. There's been a time when I haven't had one, and oh my gosh, the difference. I'm more or less housebound because public transport is just too much for me.
Well, you're in London, aren't you, Cassandra? Where are you?
I'm in London, yeah.
So London was pretty bad anyway.
Yeah.
But of course, living in in the countryside where we are in Devon, I think you have to have a car, really. You can get public transport, but it's just a long journey.
Yeah.
But for you, yeah, I did London for a while, and I did public transport, and I was like, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
And of course, with the blue badge, you get a lot of free parking in London, don't you, as well, I think?
Yeah, I mean, people do think, oh, you can park anywhere. Well, no, you can't.
No, you can't. Yeah, you've got to find the spaces first.
Yes. But it does make a massive, massive difference. I'm so grateful to have Motability and to have a car.
Yeah, I am as well. And it's literally, it's changed my life. And I think once people... I know people are struggling with their PIPs, and I know people are struggling with their doctors, and I know people are struggling with physios, but I know it gets tiring, but you have to fight it.
That's right.
You have to fight through that barrier, and as soon as you find that help, it's literally like a fresh breath air. Like, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it changes your quality of life, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. I think, as we discussed before, it's your mental health. I think your mental health with EDS plays a massive part. My anxiety goes sky roof sometimes because I sort of have to plan where I'm going.
Yes.
You know, okay, so if I'm going there, is there going to be parking for me? You know, even driving there, is there going to be enough spaces?
Yeah.
And I think, once you find that sort of perfect management plan, it works out. Things in your life run out smoother, trust me.
Yeah, most definitely. And it helps you to cope better.
The ocean for me is my coping. I love the ocean. I've always swam. When I was really bad as a kid, my kneecaps were popping up joint. I literally had two choices. My physio gave me two choices. Either exercise or be in a wheelchair all your life. And that was the two choices I had.
Right.
And my mum, being my mum, was like, no. So I joined a swimming club and I swam every day. And for me, being in the water, because there's no pressure on my joints and my knees and everything, I feel, in brackets, normal because I don't have that pressure. So, I need to be in the ocean, need to be in the sea. Yeah. And once you find that sort of something to help you out, it's like a light bulb moment, isn't it?
And what you're saying, the sea, I went over to Egypt a few years ago and
yeah.
I went into, it's the Red Sea. Within about 10, 15 minutes. I was in there for about half an hour in total, but within about 10, 15 minutes, the difference I felt in my body, I was like...
It's amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
I think it's the ocean. I'm sure it's the salt in the ocean as well.
Yeah.
Again, I get people saying to me, well, how can you, because I do a lot of bodyboarding, but on a high level. And they're saying, well, how do you have EDS if you can do that? I'm like, what? It's the most ridiculous thing to say. You can do whatever you want to do if you want to do it.
Yeah.
A very good friend of mine, Damien, who's actually got cerebral palsy, and I met him when I was living in South Africa, and he has cerebral palsy, so he wants to be a pilot. South Africa, they told him he'll never be a pilot. Came over to England, joined the charity, now he's a pilot. I think you just need to find something that you're good at.
Yeah, and it's about not giving up on yourself.
No, 100%, and I think I discussed it earlier on, sometimes I struggle with a lot of the negativity on social media, because there is a lot of negativity. There's a lot of people sort of like, as I discussed, people taking selfies of themselves from hospital, like say, it's another day in the hospital, and I'm like, if I was a teenager and I've just been diagnosed with this, I'd be like, what's my future? Yeah. And I sort of want to say to people, you do have a future, like you do have a future. Yeah. You just got to find something or someone to help you. I mean, I'm lucky I've got a wife that literally bullies me about, because if it wasn't for her, I'll be doing not a lot.
But I love the way that you think, and even when we were talking before, it is about that mindset. It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to conquer the world, and it also doesn't mean you're going to be able to do everything that you want to do. But it's about finding that place and that thing that can make you say, do you know what? This makes me feel happy, and being happy within yourself despite living with the pain and all the other symptoms that you live with. And if you can get to that place, you can then excel to a whole different level. And it's not about...
A whole different level.
And it's not about, I don't have anything wrong with me, or it doesn't affect me. It's not about that at all, because I'm very honest and saying, I have my really crappy days, but...
Yeah, I do all the time. Like I said to my wife, like my wife says to me, she says, can you let me know when you're expecting to have a shite day? And I'm like, don't know, it's quite a hard one, isn't it? So when I wake up in the morning, I don't know. I'm like, I can't sort of go, Tuesday, next week, I'll be feeling rather shite, so can you just... It's funny because I did the garden yesterday. I was doing doing the mowing and stuff, and like my wife was saying, you need to calm down because tomorrow you're gonna feel awful. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like, do you know what, Cassandra? I feel like I don't feel good today.
Yeah. I agree. And what we were saying earlier, because I've had a really lovely weekend, spent all day in the park yesterday, met up with friends, but my joints and my muscles, how I feel right now, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I think one of the story is, did you enjoy yourself this weekend? Yeah, exactly. I did. So I'd rather have a couple of days just doing nothing and know that I had a lovely weekend.
Yeah, because the thing is that we can not do things that we enjoy and still have flare-ups and still be in pain. So we might as well enjoy ourselves. And, you know, that's my philosophy. I do the things that make me happy and deal with the consequences afterwards. And sometimes the consequences are bad and sometimes they're not so bad. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Well, it's like, you know, I've been told to stop eating gluten because apparently like gluten and me don't get on. I think there's a lot to do with EDS as well, actually, apparently. But anyway. So, like, my wife says to me, you need to stop eating gluten because I feel really ill the next day. But I said to my wife, I said, look, I've tried gluten-free bread. I've tried it. It tastes like sand. Yeah. I said, I'd rather really enjoy a nice French baguette and feel really awful the next day.
You know what? We're so much on the same page, Simon, because I absolutely, even though I have improved my diet, but I'm at a point, I just refuse to feel like I'm punishing myself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I'm not eating the things that I enjoy eating. And even when, you know, years back when I did things and I cut out dairy and I cut out this and I cut out that, it made no difference for me.
No, not at all.
A lot of people do say, you know, having a vegan diet or cutting certain things out of their diet has helped them. But I did that for quite a long period of time and I was still having flare-ups. My joints were still popping out.
Yeah.
So I just thought I live with enough punishment daily.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. Yeah, I'm not cutting out a nice French croissant because like, I'm going to feel like, do you know what, that sort of tastes like, oh yeah, brilliant. I'm not going to, you know, say no thank you. I'd rather have this gluten-free one that literally tastes like sand and costs double the price. So I'm like, I know I feel awful the next day. Yeah, I know I'll be like moaning to my wife, and she'll be there like, "Say I told you so." But do you know what? I enjoyed it that moment. So
yeah, seriously. I mean, if somebody said to me, right, well, if you stop doing or eating this, this, and this, and you will never have any pain or fatigue or any of these symptoms ever again, I'd say, all right.
Yeah, crack it. Yeah.
Maybe I'd go for that one.
But so far. Actually, funny you just said what you just said just then. I've said this quite a few times, you know, about the thing with this condition. The joints, yeah, they hurt. The stomach, yeah, it bloats out. But what really frustrates me about this whole condition, and you just said it, is the fatigue.
Yeah.
It's feeling tired all the time. And it's just, I said it on Twitter. I said, I'm tired of being tired.
Tired. Oh, yeah, I saw that post, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, I'm tired of being tired. Because it's true, isn't it?
Yeah. I never feel good when I wake up in the morning. It doesn't matter how much sleep I've had. I don't feel like, woohoo, jump out of bed. You know, I've got to wait until my brain starts to kick in and my body starts to kick in and I'm doing my little stretches and movements in the bed and it just takes a while. You know, I woke up about 8 o'clock this morning and it took me about 2 hours to get out of bed.
Well, funny to say it, because I had a meeting with the pain clinic a couple of months ago. And they're really great. And they said to me, how long does it take for you when you wake up to get like to your normal? I'm like, I don't get back to normal. One time I wake up, I always feel like that. So I don't really know. But again, going back to the ocean, you know, I do feel normal when I'm in the ocean because, you know, I don't have that pressure on my body.
Yeah.
And I now understand why these people, I was a bit anti, you know, at the moment in Devon and Cornwall, we're getting a lot of these sort of like, how can I say it, midlife crisis people going to do their wild swimming. I completely understand it because the ocean's a magical thing. I really believe that the ocean and the sea and I don't know, seaweed, there's something about it that's sort of like, there's something magical about it. I'm lucky living in Devon, I think.
I've been to Devon, but many, many years ago. But yeah, to live somewhere, you know, on the coast would be absolutely lovely and to be able to go into the sea. Although for me, I find that if the water's cold, the shock that it gives me, I'm very reluctant.
But you understand why the retired move over to Spain and stuff in the winter.
Yeah. You
completely understand that because, you know, the winter time for me is not a good time.
Oh yeah, I can't stand the winter.
No, it's just like literally, it's interesting because a lot of people in my EDS group say that summer doesn't work. Well, the summer for me is the only time that I can sort of, you know, my bones are actually feeling normal. Well, not say normal.
Yeah.
But the winter time, it's like all of a sudden the light switches off and that's it, you've had your time.
Yeah, it's exactly the same for me. In the summer, I seem to come alive more in the summer. My body feels so much better. I mean, I will say when it's really hot, I can't sort of wear jeans and things that are covering my joints because then they swell up. So it's shorts and skirts and, you know, dresses and that for me.
Cassandra, if I could walk around in my Speedos, I would. I don't think it'd be a pretty sight, but you know. Yeah, well, the thing is, I spent 20 years living in Africa. I think that helped me out maybe because like, I don't have the pains as much when I was living back then I do now. So I think there's a lot to say about the heat and the humidity and the water. I think that's, I think England is, especially in the winter time, we got cold, damp. I think that's the sort of main thing.
Yeah, definitely has an impact.
Yeah.
So in your social media title, you're called EDS Pilot Simon.
Yeah.
Tell us about the pilot bit.
So basically, yeah, I've always been into aviation. When I was a kid, I used to spend my life. Well, actually, all my family are from London, so I used to spend a lot of the weekends up on. If you remember, do you remember Queen's Building at Heathrow? You used to be able to go up there and sit and watch all the planes.
Okay.
So, yeah, just sit and watch all the planes. I always wanted to be a pilot, but because of the condition, it was a bit of a no-no. Even at school, they were saying, no, you'll never be a pilot. But again, I had my mum, my physio saying there's no such word as can't. So yeah, when I left school, I got my pilot's license in Plymouth, where I'm from, and then yeah, I moved to Africa. I spent many time out there, and now I'm back here, and now I'm a chief instructor of a simulator training centre in Cheltenham.
Oh wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, so yeah, which I really enjoy actually. So we do a lot of professional training, but we also use it a lot for the average Joe. So if anybody wants to have a go at flying a Boeing, they can get in there and have a flight themselves. It's really fun meeting other people. The only issue is getting in and out of the flight or the simulator all day long is quite bad for my back. but yeah, again, as a school, people say, "Oh, you've got a condition, you can never do that. Why can't you?"
Yeah.
Like, why can't you? And oddly, the funny thing was, the guy who told me that I could never be a pilot actually came for a flying lesson at my flying club, and I was there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I remember looking at him going, yeah, I just think there's no need to tell people you can't do something. Like, there's no need for it. Yeah, and that's what I do. Yes, I flew in Africa for a while. It's just the best place in the world. I love it out there. Like, it's such a shame the crime is so bad out there because it'd be such a lovely country. But 20 years out there, well, 20 years on and off, but I do miss it.
The message that I'm trying to share to people, especially with doing this podcast and having this platform, is that your life doesn't have to be over. And if you can't do things in the conventional way or the way that you imagine that you'd be doing it, you can find an alternative.
Cassandra, there's charities out there to help. We have this Airability down in Basingstoke. They're a great charity for people who want to be pilots, for disabled people. They've built airplanes for disabled people. And I think it's the sailability for people who want to sail. Yeah, there's some really good charities out there, and if you just find them, they'll help you.
Yeah.
In Airability, there are some very disabled people there. One lady in America who literally flies a plane. She's got her own plane, and she flies by her feet. And she did a tour. She came down to see Airability, and these people are amazing. They are amazing, and I think if they can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
More to the point, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Because Sandra, I have had you have a mild version of EDS. And I hate that saying. I don't have a mild version of EDS. We all have EDS. And we all have our own issues with EDS.
Yeah.
I've just found a management plan to deal with it. It doesn't mean I'm not hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I've just found a way to sort of be on top of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. To cope and to
cope with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think, if you are a parent and your child might have EDS and you're fighting, trying to get diagnosis. My mum fought for 11 years for me for diagnosis, and you need to keep fighting. You need to keep fighting because once you've got that diagnosis, it's like, right, now I've got this condition, what can I do to improve my lifestyle? Yeah. And I think, as I said, if what I don't want are teenagers or young children to go, I've now got this condition, what am I going to do with my life? Oh, my life's over. It's not over. Look at me, for example. Yeah, I had a really bad childhood, Cassandra. It's horrendous. I was at school because my knees were popping out of joint. I had severe bowel problems. I'm not going to say, but we always talk about poo.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Our men's meeting, we always talk about poo. I can go to the toilet for months. I couldn't hold a pen. I had a horrendous childhood, and I got through it.
Yeah. Look at you now.
I am still in pain, and I think what I've noticed that instead of getting more sublux, it's turned the opposite, where things have got a lot stiffer. So like me standing up is like literally like watching a 90-year-old stand up. Mm-hmm. So I'm 42 this year, and I'm thinking, if I'm 42, if I'm like this, I'm 42. What am I going to be like when I'm 82?
Oh yeah, I have those thoughts.
Yeah, so that's why I want to be on top of it. And I think sometimes, if you just admit that you're disabled and I can find a management plan, life would be a lot easier. That's my opinion.
I totally agree with you, and I think using the resources that are available to you and having a particular mindset really makes a massive difference in regards to quality of life and thinking about your future and what you will and won't be able to do. And also resilience is really important, because there are times when we're not going to be able to do what we want to do, whether it's going out, a particular job or whatever it is. So really got to build up our resilience so that we can bounce back. And it's okay to sort of get knocked up and knocked down so many times in my life. And whether that's just my character and who I am, but I pick myself up again every single time, and I have to do that because I refuse to give up on myself. I absolutely refuse that I'm just going to let this thing take over my entire being. It's just not going to happen. I won't allow it.
Well, I think it's because, because I said to you, I had a mum who was stronger and a physio who was, also. And I think for me, they instilled it in me as a young child. You can do what you want to do. Yeah. Just find a way of doing it. That's not going to injure yourself even more so.
Yeah, which is trial and error as well, unfortunately.
It is trial and error. Like I found swimming, and for me, swimming was my hallelujah moment. We've always been water babies anyway, but for the swimming was just a lifesaver. I think even my doctors and my physio said, if it was for swimming, just carry on swimming. And I think keeping some sort of active as well. Like you said, put a couple of days out so you can rest. Have your rest days, have it, but you need to be on top of your condition, because if you have a rest day for a year, of course your EDS is going to come and bite you in the arse.
Yeah, you're going to have more. It's just going to be constant. Movement and mobility is very important, even when you don't feel like it.
I feel like people are lucky-ish now, because when I was diagnosed, no one knew about it at all. Like, there's a book in a corner of the library somewhere. We found it, and this was before the internet, so we sort of had to find our own way of managing it. I think teenagers now, people in general, are very lucky because they've got people like me, you, social media to sort of go, right, let's try and find people to help me. And I'm willing to help anyone. I really want to help teenagers who want to do something with their lives. That's what I want to do. Been there, done it, got through it, job done.
That leads me on actually to Ella's Danlos Support UK. I know that you do some work with them, and I've also done some myself with their teenagers. And that whole thing of with the teenagers, and everybody, but particularly the teenagers, letting them know that there is hope and that you can have a life. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So at the moment I'm running a couple of groups actually more so. So I run the men's group, which is living fantastic. It's such great fun. We have a meeting every Tuesday now, and it's just us having a laugh, really, got honest with you. Basically men moaning.
Yeah.
And we've called the group I'm Fine, because it's the normal man thing. You sort of fall over and go, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Just move on. And then I run the Plymouth group, Exeter group, basically the Devon group. The men's group is normally just the blokes, but with the Southwest group, Devon group, it's mostly women actually, which again is great fun. So I do Zoom meetings every Wednesday now. And my Zoom meetings aren't very regimental. They're very much us just having a laugh. I think most of us, what we want is just a laugh.
We need it. Laughter is the best.
We need it. We were in tears a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you know about this Chinese website. It's called AliExpress and Wish. So we were on there finding the most random thing to buy. One of our group members found a helmet for chickens. It was just the funniest thing. And it's been great meeting other people with the condition, because I think sometimes you just feel alone.
Very much.
You're alone. And I think just meeting other people with it, especially men as well, being a men's group, it's like, oh, you've also got that same problem I've got. Again, like a breath of fresh air. It's like, you also suffer from wanting to do DIY, but you can't. And it's really been really great. Zoom is fantastic, isn't it? It's been really great over lockdown, but it's nothing better than actually people face to face.
I would imagine that men don't often speak how it makes them feel, how it impacts them. So I think that having a men's group is really good.
You understand why the suicide rate in men is so high. It's like 75% or something. And you completely understand why, because we just like to bottle stuff up.
Yeah.
And again, I know that my wife keeps saying we're in the 21st century now and things need to change. That's all well and good, but men will be men. It's in our DNA, isn't it? It's been really great with the support group that we've been all talking about our issues, about being a bloke, who. Because a lot of the other groups are women. A lot of the other sort of the Plymouth Devon group and the other groups are a lot of women. So they find it quite embarrassing talking to women about the men's problems. I really hope that more men go on social media and do set up their own accounts. So there's only a few of us on there, I think.
Yeah, I don't see many men when I'm on social media that's got EDS or fibromyalgia or anything like that.
No, I don't.
Talking about.
I said, what is it? Is it a stubborn thing? Do you think? I'm not sure.
I wonder if it's a pride thing.
Pride, yeah, it's a pride thing. Yeah, I think
men are not supposed to. You've got to be strong all the time. You're supposed to show any.
Cassandra, I gave up with that a long time ago. I don't know. That's the thing. I think once you realise life is a lot easier.
Yeah.
Once you swallow your pride and go, do you know what? I need a bit of help.
I think fighting against anything, because for me, years ago when I was still fighting against my body, it was worse. It made things worse. And when you sort of accept this is the situation, stop fighting against it. And it doesn't mean giving up on yourself. And it's important to know the difference. Accepting doesn't mean giving up. It just means that this is what it is. Okay, what do I do next? And once I stop battling with myself, again, it's not like made the pain disappear or any symptoms disappear. No, it hasn't. But definitely from a mental and emotional perspective,
I think it's more of the mental sort of side of things. It's like as you said, if you keep fighting it, it makes you even more tired.
Yeah.
And I think once you've accepted a bit of help, if it's from like PIP or Motability or just something to help you out, it's literally it's a light bulb moment, where things go ting.
Yeah, and reach charities like Ellis Dagnos support, that can make a difference as well, because I know that there's so many resources and support groups and things like that.
I think we just now there's also now a lady's done the support for schools as well. So that wasn't. Have you seen that? The toolkit for schools.
Yes. Kay, the director, when I had her on a while back, she spoke about that. We kind of got a little bit of an exclusive on that one, and then it was out that week. And I think that that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's great. My niece, the 6-year-old, has been diagnosed. I've forwarded it on to her mum to give to school. I think once this whole COVID situation's sort of fizzled out, it will. I might go and visit some schools and see if there's, because my wife's a teacher and she knows that there's a few people with EDS in her school.
Okay.
So I want to go down that level as well. Again, going back to that, I want to show teenagers that they want to do anything they want, and not just people with EDS, anyone with disability. Yeah, actually,
that's right.
Dyslexia or anything, there's no such word as can't.
It's just about tapping into the right resources.
Yeah, and I think that's a great thing with EDS UK. This last couple of years, it's just been great.
Yeah, they really have been great. So, do you think there's enough support out there for men?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. I suppose there is, if you're willing to, as we discussed, if you're willing to admit you're disabled. As I said, DWP have been great for me. I know that a lot of people have been fighting it, but for me, they've been great. Maybe because Cassandra, I've got a paper trail going back to when I was a teenager. I think that's maybe it. But I think now we've set up the men's group, it's been great. I'd say men's group's been running for quite a while, but I think it's the last couple of years that we've sort of upped it a little bit. There's actually 3 of us running it, and it's been really great. So I think we've sort of been hiding away in our little corner. I think there is help out there. You're just willing to find it. Ask for help. Ask for it. It's there. And fight for it, more to the point.
What advice, if anything, would you give to other men out there with similar conditions?
Number 1, admit you're disabled. 2, ask for the help, because there's help out there, and we're willing to help. I'm here to help. That's what we're here for. I don't know. I'm not saying that. Ask for help and admit you're disabled. And I think those little things. It's the small little changes, Cassandra. I know it's not the big things, but the small little things will change your life. I think admitting you're disabled and sort of like saying, right, I can't do this. If someone says to you, can you lift up your cat litter onto the belt? Just say no.
Yes.
Just say no. I've learned to say no now. I think I'll say no more than I say yes.
Saying no is a big thing, I think, for people in our situation. Being able to say no, which is something that I've had to learn to do as well.
I've had to learn to do it, because even now I'm a bit like, even at work, for example, in a captain's seat, the seat's a little bit, the wheels are a little bit funny, so I have to sort of help people in. But helping people in has really hurt my back, really hurt my back. And now I'm just saying, I can't do it. I'm sorry, but you have to help yourself.
Yeah, and I think putting ourselves before others is important, because when we're then feeling the pain, we're the ones feeling the pain.
Yeah, as I say, we're in pain. We're in pain. It's normally the next day. It's not that day. You're sort of walking around, oh, that doesn't hurt that much. It's the next day when you wake up and go, oh. I think that's what's annoying about this condition, is that one day you can be okay-ish, and the next day you're completely like a zombie.
Yeah, and people don't get that as well.
No, they don't get it at all, do they? Even my wife still doesn't get it. But that's why she tells me that to warn her. I said, I can't warn you. It just appears.
Absolutely impossible. Yeah.
It's like an old friend that just appears.
Sometimes you can kind of predict, right, I know that I'm going to be doing that. And more than likely, there's going to be a consequence or a flare-up or some things. You kind of know over time and experience, but you still don't 100% know. And you could have done something today, which you did last week and you were fine. and then you do it again today and you have a massive flare up. So
I know, it's so weird, isn't it? Well, the thing is, like I said to you before, like I wasn't on the EDS radar for a while because I was diagnosed. That was me, and I sort of got on with life. So I thought that was my normal. It was only until I sort of joined the groups and realised, what, there's a zebra thing. I didn't even know about zebras until about a year ago. Yeah. So why is this, what, a zebra? What, how about? So yeah, I think it's only until I spoke to groups and, again, the other men, and we talked about the flare-ups, and I was like, is that what it is? I thought it was just me being a bit of a bugger.
Right.
Yes, I didn't even know about them. I thought it was just me being normal. But yeah, now you talk about it, yeah, like, you know, it's one of those things, like if I do the garden like I did this weekend, I know today, like I am today, I'll just have an inside day and just watch TV all day.
It's about having that balance and not overdoing it and not feeling like you're selfish if you can't do things for people.
Yeah, and not feeling lazy, because I think a lot of people think you're lazy. Oh, you're just being lazy. You're not being lazy, you just want a rest day.
Yeah, it's needed.
Yeah, because our bodies work more than twice as more than normal people.
That's right.
I always say to people, it's like your body, inside your body, it's trying to fight you. It's like it's trying to escape your skin.
Constantly. And
that's what it's like. And I don't think people understand that. You know, look, yeah, I might look normal, but inside I feel like I'm about to explode.
Yeah.
Like, literally. That's how I feel.
I totally get those feelings. Totally understand that. Simon, it's been such a pleasure talking with you today. I love the work that you're doing with the young people and with the men and just everything you're doing. I think it's great. I love that you've been able to be a pilot, do the things that you've wanted to do in life. And
no such rose cards, Cassandra, no such rose cards. I'm not on a t-shirt.
But yeah, the message that you're putting out there and the example that you're showing, I think is brilliant, which is why I wanted you to come on the show. And
thank you, thank you so much. Because I want it to get out there, because I think there's quite a lot of negativity with this condition out there, and I just want people to know that, you know, there are positive people like me and you and other people out there.
That warrior spirit, we need to share it.
Yeah, no, we do need to share it. No, and I think it's even more so, we need to be on top of the list.
Definitely, and hopefully we can help others to get to that place of where we are and just not stay living in despair and without any hope. That is my mission. That's what I'm all about. My core.
Well, I'm on a mission with you.
Yeah, well, we're on it together.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Thank you so much, Simon. It's been really lovely talking to you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your rest day.
I will. If it's sunny, I'm going to go sunbathe, I think.
Yeah, why not? Enjoy. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, bye.
You've been listening to the Chronic Warriors podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this podcast.